going to start here with Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. So this should be a good one to start with. So she says, our food service workers, custodians, and security workers keep our government running, but this Republican government shutdown is denying them work and pay for no fault of their own. The Fair Pay for Federal Contractors Act, that's a long one, would ensure they get the back pay they deserve once the government reopens. So before I get into this video, I figured I would step over here to Grok and see, which it's got the sources. Don't freak out if you think Grok is extremely biased, what have you. It does at least display the sources, so at least I can show you that. I prefer to use Grok because it's on the X platform, and that's where all the politicians are these days. So where I pull all of the posts and get all the videos, the articles, and everything, they primarily post over here because the X platform gets hundreds of millions of people on it per month. So this is the one the politicians typically favor. All right, so anyway, what is in the Fair Pay for Federal Contractors Act? The Fair Pay for Federal Contractors Act of 2025 ensures back pay for federal contractors, employees affected by government shutdowns. The key provisions, appropriations, funds federal agencies to adjust contract prices for fiscal year 2026 shutdowns. The lapse starting October 1st of 2025, which is the day the Democrats shut down the government, and it would be available until December 31st of 2026. The back compensation, agencies must reimburse contractors for employee wages at standard rates for furloughs, layoffs, reduced hours, or pay during shutdowns, restoring paid leave used due to the lapse, and it's capped at $1,442 a week, and it's prorated lesser of actual pay or cap. The scope, it applies to service employees, laborers, and mechanics. It overrides contract limits, and it requires cost evidence. The reporting Office of Federal Procurement Policy reports to Congress within 1 year on adjustments, affected workers, and etc. So that's the gist of that act, and I got a follow-up question to it, but first, let's take a look at the sources. On congress.gov, that's one of them, presley.house.gov, warner.senate.gov, federalnewsnetwork.com, sourcenm.com, smith.senate.gov. So there's a lot of govs, dol.gov, quiverquant.com, congress.gov. So anybody who's left-leaning, are you satisfied that these sources, they seem to be pretty legit? .gov. One of those sources was coming from the Congresswoman's website herself on congress.gov. So anyway, here's the follow-up. What are the downsides or the catches? What are the criticisms of this bill? So the potential downsides or catches to H.R. 5657, which is the Fair Pay for Federal Contractors Act of 2025. It has a pay cap, reimbursements limited to $1,442 a week. So higher earners receive less than actual wages. Of course, you'd expect nothing less from Democrats. They want everybody to get paid equally, which in the grand scheme of things, they want everybody to be equally worthless. They want everybody to be equally peasants, to get paid virtually nothing. That's what they want at the end of the day. All the roads to hell, they're all paved with good intentions. Anyway, narrow scope covers only service employees, laborers, and mechanics. It doesn't cover all federal contractor workers, which excludes professionals or executives. It also has a 1-year limit. It applies only to fiscal year 2026 shutdowns, no ongoing protection for future lapses. So wait a minute, fiscal year 2026 shutdowns. So does that, actually up here it says that it starts October 1st, 2025, right? Yeah, the lapse starting. So it's not only fiscal year 2026, it also applies to the end of 2025. But anyway, no ongoing protection for future lapses. The fiscal cost, it adds to the federal deficit via new appropriations. No CBO estimate available yet. The critics argue it rewards workers despite politicians causing the shutdowns. And it's also an administration burden. Contractors must submit cost evidence. Agencies handle adjustments and reporting, potentially delaying payouts. Yeah, that could probably delay payouts for who knows how long. Could be weeks, could be months, potentially. No passage yet, introduced September 30th. I mean, yeah, of course, that goes without saying because Rep Pressley said just that the Republican government shutdown is denying them. And it said it would ensure that they get the back pay they deserve. I wouldn't count on this getting passed. Not that it's exactly all that relevant because she's a congresswoman. She's not a senator. The CR spending bill already passed in the House. That's a done deal. We're trying to get it passed in the Senate. I understand that they could pass this bill in the House and it would make its way over to the Senate and then potentially get up to where, the Oval Office, it'll eventually get to Trump. Not saying that he would sign this. He probably wouldn't. Because, if Democrats are passing stuff like this, there's always a catch in there somewhere. Maybe there's something written like a fine print on page 75 that says that Trump can't fire any more federal workers for the entirety of any shutdown in the future. You know what I mean? Like they've probably got some like weasel language like written in there somewhere that doesn't really pertain to paying people during a shutdown. But, like who knows? I don't know. Whatever. I guess I could just go straight to the website and read the entire bill, but I'm not going to do that. It's just no point, at least in my opinion. I mean, look, if you want to read it, you can go read it. Look, I already gave it out. It's HR 5657. Just plug that into Google. It'll take you right to it. Anyway, House bill. Oops. We're going to get to this in a minute. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene on The View. That happened. It's old news at this point. That came out like 3-4 days ago, but I'm going to get to that probably at the end of this video because I said I would. I promised I would, so I'm going to. If you watched The Swamp on Friday, I said I would. All right, so anyway, let's give this a play and see what she says.
Rep Ayanna Pressley here in the House cafeteria. This is a place that normally is teeming with people, buzzing with activity, visitors from all over the country, dedicated
Bro, that hat,
staff,
man.
federal workers.
She has no hair
and
under
members
that
of
hat.
Congress,
That's why she wears the hat.
Here to get a bite to eat or to meet with a constituent, but it's quiet because we're in a Republican-manufactured government shutdown. And one of the things that keeps this place humming that's really essential.
Actually, you know what? Actually, here, hold on. I might actually be able to show something because I just replied to a Democrat like 15 minutes ago, I think. Let me see if I still have. I'm sure it's on here. Let me see if I can find it. Where is it? Because I did share it. Here it is. So, Democrats believe their constituents are blind, brainwashed, and retarded. And I replied to Rep Dan Goldman. He said, Trump's shutdown is grounding planes. Just like she said, the Republican-led shutdown. It's all the Republicans who shut down the government. So this is the vote from way back on September 30th. It was the final vote in the Senate that was going to keep the government open. So the Senate, obviously, as you can read at the top, it requires 60% of the vote to pass. This is the CR spending bill. That's what this is. This was up to be voted on, and 55 votes were for yes, which means, yes, we're going to pass the CR spending bill, which will keep the government funded. 45 individuals voted no, 45 senators. They voted no, that they don't want the CR spending bill to pass, which obviously shuts down the government. If you have no money to fund the government, what happens to the government? It shuts down. You, again, need 60% of the vote to pass, only 55. So therefore, it doesn't pass. That's why the check mark is next to the no, because that means that the no's have it, because you need 60% in the Senate. And as you can see, all the Democrats, except for 2, voted yes they voted no to pass the CR bill, which effectively shuts down the government. They shut down the government. So it gets really tiring. I've shown this image so many times at this point, just like everybody else who's pushing back against Democrats and their brain dead lunacy, because it is, in fact, the Democrats who shut down the government because they voted no to pass the spending bill. And when you vote no to pass a spending bill, what happens to the government? It shuts down. That's what happens. It shuts down. All right, let's get back to this.
Running are the dedicated food service workers, our custodians, and our security workers who keep this place going, who keep us going. They're some of the hardest working, but the lowest paid. Earlier today I met with 40 federally contracted.
See, it's easy for her to say because she's a rep in the House, and the House already passed the CR bill. I would really love to know if she voted for the CR spending bill or not. I'd bet you $1,000 that she voted no. She voted no on the CR bill. In other words, she voted to shut down the government. She voted against their paychecks. That's exactly what she did. I know she voted against it. She voted no to the CR spending bill. However, in the House, they got just enough to cross it over the finish line, and it moved on to the Senate. So all of those Democrat representatives that voted no, ultimately doesn't really matter all that much because it got passed in the House anyway. But I guarantee you that this Congresswoman voted no. And if I were any of these individuals sitting here when she approaches me to talk to me about, the Republicans are so evil that they shut down the government, that would be my initial question to her. I'd say, did you vote yes on that CR spending bill in the House? Did you vote yes or did you vote no? Well, yes or no, yes or no.
from the National Gallery of Art,
Don't
to
give me
the
a
House
bullshit
Cafeteria,
answer.
to the Library of Congress. Some of them just started 6 months ago. Some of them have been there 40 plus years. They take pride in their work. They love what they do.
It's almost as
They
if
wish
they're
they were
aware
working
of what's
right
really
now.
going on.
But we're in a government shutdown, with the exception of a handful of people. They've been told to stay home.
Yeah, we are in a government
And they're
shutdown. She is
going
right about
without
that.
pay. And unlike federal employees who have the protections signed into law to receive their back pay when we come out of this Republican manufactured government shutdown, there are no protections for our federally contracted workers. Again,
Yeah, okay, fine. I'm okay with that. If these federally contracted workers, if they're not working, they shouldn't be getting paid regardless. If you don't want to be working for an entity that could potentially shut down at any time, then don't work for that entity. I mean, a lot of these contractor workers, they don't have to work for the federal government. I'm sure that they've got a private sector that they could work in. Doesn't necessarily have to be with the government. Maybe some of them do. However, you just have to assume the risks when you work for the federal government. Especially in this day and age. There might be a time where the politicians play dirty political games and they end up shutting down the government and you don't get paid. But if this government stays shut down for 5, 6, 7 months and those people didn't work a single day in those 5, 6, 7 months, should they really get every penny of their back pay? Look, if they're contracted workers, I don't know, man. Maybe it should be a case-by-case basis. I guess maybe it's not exactly fair to just blanket say absolutely not. However, the Capitol Police, they're still coming to work, or the ICE agents, Border Patrol, the military, all of those people, they're still working. Air traffic control, they're all working. However, the people that have been furloughed, that have been told not to come into work, I'm not exactly, on the side of paying them full pay for not working. I just don't exactly agree with that because they're not working right now. So what are they doing instead? Are they just sitting on their asses and not doing anything at all, just waiting for their back pay to come in? Probably some of them. However, I bet a lot of them, they've probably taken on side gigs. They've probably applied to other businesses, other companies. I'm sure they're working side jobs somewhere. I'm sure they're finding a way to get by. At least that's what I would do. So,
who are some of the hardest working, the most dedicated, and the lowest paid. And that's why I've reintroduced.
So if you don't like how much you're getting paid, don't work there. Find a job somewhere else.
Bipartisan, bicameral bill that will ensure that our low-wage food service workers, our custodians, and security workers receive back pay. Look, y'all.
Well, yeah, if they're still working,
I'm not fighting
duh.
for charity. I'm fighting for reciprocity.
If they're not coming to work and if they're physically not working, I don't really exactly think they should be getting 100% of their back pay.
All of us. It's just a matter of what's right.
All right, whatever. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Or should I read the comments? I mean, it's the weekend. Yeah. Not in a huge hurry to get through this like I am with the swamp. See, I'm on a very strict schedule when I do the swamp Monday through Friday. I really try to keep it under 2 hours, but try to make it at least an hour and a half. That's the time slot that I shoot for, between an hour and a half and 2 hours. And then I have to go through the list of everything within that time frame, try to get it all knocked out. But I also try not to rush through it at the same time, even though I often do, because I'm trying to stay within that time frame and not drag it on too long. So I don't really have a whole lot of opportunity to read through any of the comments during my Monday through Friday show, but a lot of images. So here, let's see. The truth, Rep Pressley won't tell you. Let's see. According to Grok, 23 hours ago, yes, Senate Republicans have supported at least 14 to 15 funding bills or resolutions that included full SNAP continuity during the ongoing shutdown standoff. Per statements from the GOP leaders like Johnson, Democrats blocked these measures, prioritizing separate votes for healthcare subsidies and other items absent from Republican proposals. This pattern reflects clashing demands rather than outright opposition to SNAP itself. Yeah, there's been other Republican senators who have put bills on the floor trying to get the military paid. Who was it? I just covered it yesterday. I wonder if it's on my Grok history. Maybe I looked it up on Grok. I might actually have the answer to that. Maybe not. The institutionalization, Trump administration, SNAP funding order. No, I don't have it. Let me see. Okay, well, here's my show notes from yesterday. Today, the GOP put a bill on the Senate floor that would allow the military and federal workers to get paid during the government shutdown, which of course was blocked by Democrats. I thought I put the name of who exactly that was who introduced the bill, but I do have the name. I just don't have it in my notes. But yeah, if you want to check out my episode from yesterday, I go through exactly that. There is a Republican senator who put a bill on the floor to pass for funding government workers, specifically the military and other federal workers, such as air traffic, the security guys, TSA. Trying to think of who they were, TSA, and everybody else, all the law enforcement, the agents, and everything. A lot of the FBI, they're not getting paid right now. I'm sure there's probably a lot of people in like the intelligence community, they're probably not getting paid either. All right, anyway, for anyone still confused, the Senate needs 60 votes to pass the bill. Republicans only have 53 seats, so at least 7 Democrats must vote yes for the CR to pass. Democrats keep voting no, which is why the government remains shut down. They've blocked it multiple times. Yeah, 14 times at this point. 14 times. It's really not that complicated, and it's not. It's not, dude. Like the Democrats, if you want to get any examples of what gaslighting is, just look at anything that the Democrats are talking about today. Matter of fact, I'll give you about 50 different examples of gaslighting in this video alone, if you just stay tuned. I'm going to go through video after video. It's just filled with the stench of Democrat gaslighting, man. Freaking putrid. The truth, Rep Pressley won't tell you. Who closed the government equals Democrats proof. So as you can clearly see, Democrats are the ones keeping the government closed. No, which means keep government closed. Yes, open government. The votes, 54 to 45. That was on October 9th of 2025. So that's one of the 14 times they voted on the same bill. And Democrats have voted no, 14 times. Over and over and over again. And so anyway. All right. So, you know what? I'm just going to go on to the next thing. That's probably what those comments are full of. Just everybody just correcting the record. Just showing the obvious. It ain't a Republican shutdown. It's a Democrat shutdown. It's clear as crystal. It has been clear as crystal since day one. It's just Democrats count on the people listening to them or watching them to be extremely low IQ or just be, living in their echo chambers or being full on brainwashed by everybody around them, or perhaps just not having any time to really open their eyes, take 30 seconds, do a simple Google search and find out what's really going on. But like I said, a lot of people are going to get stuck in the airports during Thanksgiving because this government, it's not opening up for the rest of the year. I hope you're not like hoping and praying that it will before Thanksgiving, because it ain't going to. It's going to be shut down for the rest of the year. Christmas season is going to be an absolute travel nightmare. By the way, Department of Transportation, they just announced on Friday, starting on Friday, they're canceling 10% of all flights across America because the air traffic controllers, they're just too short staffed because they're starting to not show up anymore because they're not getting paid. And Secretary Sean Duffy's already talking about increasing that number to 20%, and that could happen as soon as next week. So 20% of all flights in America will be canceled, period. Not delayed, not rescheduled, full on canceled. So you can only imagine the nightmare that's going to be coming this Thanksgiving. And like, I even have family like that are traveling. My mom, she's traveling up to DC where my brother lives. My sister, she lives in Chicago. She's traveling where my brother is in DC. They're hosting DC. I decided to opt out of that this year because I can't stand traveling these days. So I'd rather just chill here in sunny St. Pete, just enjoy Thanksgiving on my own, nice and quiet, maybe do some of the, some content or whatever. I don't have any plans for Thanksgiving. I never do. It's never been a big holiday for me. But yeah, so anybody who's traveling, you get stuck at an airport for 3-4 days on end. You got a lot of spare time. Instead of just twiddling your thumbs, just wondering, why the fuck am I here? Like, why are the Republicans doing this to me? Maybe you should just take out your phone and do some Google searches and find out what's really going on. Why am I stuck in this airport for 4 solid days? And I have a feeling a lot of people are going to figure out exactly what's really going on. Plus, we've already seen footage of air traffic controllers. They're handing out flyers to people showing them exactly what's going on, how the Democrats actually shut down the government. I don't know if they work for an air traffic controllers union or maybe they're union reps. Not exactly sure if they are actual on the payroll air traffic controllers handing out those flyers, but I did show a video to that effect, that they are handing out information to travelers, letting them know about the delays that are happening. And this flyer explains the delays because there was a funding bill that was going to pay all of our air traffic controllers, which the Democrats did not pass. They refused to pass it. Air traffic controllers are not getting paid. A lot of them are not coming into work because would you go to work if you're not getting paid? Exactly. So a lot of air traffic controllers are not coming into work because they ain't getting paid. They got to find money somewhere, and it's not going to be found in a government job, at least not for now. So, and plus, when you're sitting in an airport all day long, strangers, they talk to other strangers. People talk to the people next to them. I mean, the word is going to get around. I mean, Democrats can try to gaslight all they want. And and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of videos on YouTube, on TikTok, all over social media this Thanksgiving weekend of people in airports hearing somebody, some Karen getting all pissed off about, oh, this evil Republican shutdown, that's why we're stuck here. And you're going to get like 5 people walking up to you and like, dude, you are so fucking wrong. And she is going to get so corrected. It's going to be so hilarious to see just the total tone and demeanor of her voice. Like, oh, wow, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, my God. Why are they lying to me? Lady, they've been lying to you for a decade. Oh, my God. All right, anyway, I'll just move on.
If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe to the channel. Check out The Swamp, Monday through Friday at 11 p.m. Eastern, with segments dropping on the daily. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.